some ways, at some point in your life, everybody can be a lost rider. Good morning and welcome to the second half of this week's News from the Camp House. This is Herman Brune. I'm here with the Executive Director of Nueces River Authority, Mr. John Byrum. Explain, okay, wait a minute. Before we do this, I want to inject that the policy, the standard, the position taken by the CCA when we had Mr. Shane Bonet on here is they were totally in favor of the seawater desal plant with its offshore discharge, deep water discharge. They were not so in favor of a bunch of little, what his words were. He said, we'd rather see one big seawater desal plant that does 100, 200, 300, up to 500 million gallons a day and has all their discharge go offshore rather than have all these small 3 to 5 to 10 million brackish aquifer desal plants, which I don't know. I guess you got to do what you got to do. But anyway, that was their position. And, the problem with the discharge, well, that's what we're trying to unravel just a little bit this morning. And even, okay, here we go, Mr. Byrum. Here we go again, because, again, I bring up the point that you can't just run this stuff off down a re-injection well forever and ever. Sooner or later, it's going to come back out somewhere, right?
That is correct. Sooner or later, it will outcrop, or it's going to build pressure and, leachate into some freshwater aquifers. And we certainly don't want that to happen. That's way down the road, but let's treat it in an environmentally sensitive way, and not look forward to those kind of problems occurring in the future.
Right. Let's take care of what we got. Like you said, and like I said, my assumptions can quite often be wrong, because I think people just got enough sense in that you can't just discharge this stuff in the creek. It has to go through some type of treatment. You can, so that's where I can be wrong quite often, is making false assumptions.
I do believe the CCA is correct in having one bigger discharge of brine in one area and letting that area, be installed in a way that is environmentally sensitive, doesn't have an impact, as opposed to having 10 or 12 or 14 smaller discharges and having to deal with those. I just believe it's better to have the bigger one, and that's kind of what we've done. That's what we've built our plan on with the Nueces River Authority's New Water for South Texas project.
All right. Just to put some of this into scope for my listeners, the lair water rights were sold. Those are in Garwood. Those were sold to the LCRA, the Lower Colorado River Authority. Those were sold years ago. I remember it was $75 million that the LCRA paid for the lair water rights. Now, those water rights means that water comes from the Colorado River, and I'm sure they're not getting it now because the Colorado River is in such horrible shape. But the water would go from there to Lake Texana for the benefit of Corpus Christi. And in our interview with the South Texas Water Authority, we found out that they buy water from Corpus Christi. So what you see is South Texas, where we always talked about interbasin transfer and how this water gets moved around, we already see that our water could quite possibly be going all the way down to Kingsville, when it's in ample supply. And Kingsville, that gentleman told us it was cheaper for them to desalinate a brackish aquifer than it was to buy water from Corpus. And if that's true, you can certainly understand their incentive. Go ahead.
They're moving a lot of water. Yeah, they're moving water a long way, a lot of water a long way, and that's expensive. So they do believe that in the long run would be cheaper than buying a desal mix of water from the city of Corpus Christi, which is the regional supplier down there for those 7 counties.
All right. Okay. Now one of the biggest thing about desalination when we started watching it, we've been watching this for 25 years on this program, just kind of itching and waiting to see it happen. And the biggest thing used to be right away, everyone said, well, it's impossible because it costs too much energy. What has been the biggest reason that now the energy isn't as big a problem?
Well, it's still an issue. Energy, you've got to pressurize that water up over 700-800 psi to push it through those membranes and remove that salt from there. That's the way it's done. Okay. And that is an expensive proposition. I think that the reason it's not the issue it was 5 years, 10 years ago is because we had other sources at that point in time. But we've grown to a point where we've outgrown our water supply here in Texas. It's a great thing. It's the Texas miracle, But for that to continue, we need to make sure that we are, one, environmentally sensitive, and two, we grow our supply of water to a point where we can continue with this growth pattern.
All right. So how do you get it from point A to point B finally? I mean, if you've got all these, how do you get it to Austin? I mean, Austin, that corridor, Austin to San Antonio, is just incredible. It's going to make Austin and San Antonio look just like Dallas Fort Worth, and that water's got to go up there.
It's about 700 foot of rise on top of it being about 180 to 200 miles of water pumping. So yeah, it becomes an issue. It's doable. You can make it happen. You just got to have a huge pump station at the treatment site, which is what we've proposed with our new Water for South Texas project, and then several booster stations along the way to equalize that pressure to where you can make it into the Central Texas area.
All right. As you have progressed with this project, has it grown? Has it gotten a lot bigger since you started?
We started out with phase one, and that's what we're in now. We're concentrating on phase one, which is 100 million gallons a day. We have 95 million of that water sold, 95 million gallons of that water sold. So we are waiting on a couple of people that have requested water, and we've got that last 5 million overcommitted, in fact, but we can get that last 5 million sold as soon as we've got a couple of city council actions that need to take place, and then we can make that happen. In fact, today we feel like we could probably sell 140, 145 million gallons, but that wasn't the plan. The plan is 100 million gallons, get it going, get that working correctly, and then we will, at some time in the future, 10, 20 years down, then we can look at additional phases.
Oh, you really think it's going to be 10, 20 years?
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. It'll outlive me, though. I'm 69 years old. I plan on retiring here in a couple of years, so it's one of those deals that we'll pass the baton off, hopefully in good shape, with the phase one of that going and being constructed, and then younger people can move it forward from there.
All right, let's go back. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's go back to something we said a little bit earlier, because you mentioned water treatment and being able to treat a discharge in a fashion that it would benefit Baffin Bay. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay. Well, then why isn't that just the policy and standard?
Well, I mean, we're not talking about Bryan at that point in time. we were talking. I was talking about the discharges from some wastewater treatment plants from cities up in that area.
Okay,
And
all right.
it is the standard, but that standard's not being met consistently because of the fact that these plants have reached the end of their useful life, their operational life. And they experience breakdowns and upsets and those kind of things. So that's what we've got to build new facilities for. And the newer facility will be a nutrient reducing facility. So in other words, the discharge from those facilities will not have the level of ammonia, nitrogen, and phosphorus that we see currently.
All right, okay. Should also make the point that I think these studies also show just a bunch of faulty septic systems throughout South Texas, and there's a project going on right now to replace many of those, right? As many as 1,000 of them, right?
Yes, sir. We are replacing quite a few of those every year as it is. Around the Baffin Bay area and up into the tributaries, we've got a program going on that we received funding for. We're in our third phase of that, and it's working very well.
All right. Okay. So that's they told me it's going all the way up to Alice. That they're looking at replacing people's septic systems, just old septic systems that are leaking and not handling sewage correctly, and that they traced a lot of this nitrogen and stuff from as many as 1,000 of these systems, and now they're going through there and replacing them, and the word is they're seeing progress.
Absolutely, yeah, that is good information, and that's correct, and that's a good news story for South Texas.
All right. I'll tell you what, let's leave it there. What do you say, John?
I say that's good. I really appreciate good conversation with people that know the situation and are concerned about it. So thank you, Herm. It's always good to talk to you.
I really appreciate it, and help us try to unravel this hairball just a little bit so that I can speak to it intelligently when people ask me. And I certainly, if I'm going to talk CCA, I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to talk to South Texas, I'm going to talk to Corpus, talk to everyone. You got to know your business when you just come across as being stupid. I hate it when I'm stupid. John, thanks for being with us this morning.
Always good to talk to you. Thank you.
All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this morning's edition of News from the Camp House. You can listen to it on the LostRiderPodcast.com and or the Lost Rider YouTube. So, now, go out, have a great weekend. Y'all have fun. You be safe. Y'all just remember, pretty much any day is sure a good day to be out in the woods.